Hi everyone. So this is a guide to what I think are some of the quickest and easiest ways for you to radically improve your internet life, both as a student and as a researcher. Really, it's aimed at the typical passive internet user, which is to say most university students. You might go on Facebook on a daily basis. You might read some blogs every now and then. You might even have a blog and a Twitter account. And you sort of play around with all these things more or less frequently, but you've never really given too much thought to how they can all really be organized in the most efficient, effective way possible to make your use of all of these tools as empowering and as exciting as possible. So that's basically the goal, to give you some very simple steps to make significant improvements in your use of all of these things so that you can actually really harness their power. So here's the plan. First, we're going to talk about how to set up and use a blog. This will be for total beginners, so if you have any experience at all with blogging, you can skip this first part. You'll probably find it boring. But if you're absolutely new to these things, please do pay attention to this. It will just sort of help you get acclimated. After that, we'll talk about how to set up and use a Twitter account. Again, this will be for total beginners, so if you have any experience at all with Twitter, feel free to skip this part. But if Twitter is completely new to you and you have no idea what it even means or how it works, please do pay attention to this. It will just help you get set up. Third, we'll talk about how to use the RSS aggregator called Feedly to optimize your media diet. There are a lot of different RSS aggregators out there to help you sort of unify several different kinds of internet flows. We'll talk a little bit more about what that means. Feedly is just, in my opinion, one of the better ones, so it's the one that we're going to base this tutorial around, and it's the one that I recommend you use if you really have no idea what any of this stuff even means. In the tutorial, you'll see exactly what it does and why it's so useful. And last, we'll talk about how to use the Twitter client called TweetDeck to master the Twitterverse. Most of you will know that Twitter is just this sort of huge fire hose of tweets that are sent out sort of millions per second around the world. And you actually need some very sort of well thought out applications and tools to really be able to ride this wave of information in an interesting and exciting and effective way. In the end, if you take these steps and really commit to using all of these tools, the internet can actually revolutionize your learning as well as your power to participate in conversations on a truly global stage. Everyone talks about how the internet is so revolutionary and is making everyone sort of able to access all different kinds of information and communicate themselves radically and topple authoritarian regimes, et cetera, et cetera. But the truth is that most people just spend their days on Facebook and pretty crappy news sites, learning not much more than they would otherwise before the internet. So there's some truth to the revolutionary claims about the internet, but it actually requires some learning and some investment to actually be able to access what is revolutionary about the internet. And my promise to you is that if you really take these steps seriously, you'll have significantly more access to what is actually revolutionary about the internet. Okay, so if you already have a blog, then you know how to do that. If you don't have a blog, then you might not know how to do that. And I want to just give you a very quick sort of walkthrough on how to get up and running doing that very quickly and easily. So there are lots of different blogging platforms that you can choose. One of the ones that I think is the easiest and increasingly popular is called Tumblr. If you go to just tumblr.com, it will give you a sort of sign up or login page. Go ahead and sign up if you don't have an account. That's all very straightforward. I'm going to just log in because I already have one. So, all right, here's how it works. It's very, very simple. Once you log in to your account, you're at what is called the dashboard. This is basically just your cockpit where you can basically do everything you need to do, like add content to your blog, make new posts with all this different kinds of content that you might want to put on your website. If you want to add a picture, click the photo post. If you want to add just written text, select the text post. So let's just do an example. So easy. I will just tell the world that I am using screencasting software for the first time to give a tutorial on blogging. Okay, pretty simple. I'll call it my first attempt at screencasting. Okay, and so since there are probably other people on Tumblr who are interested in the same things, I will use hashtags to indicate the broad sort of subject areas that my post is contributing to. So for instance, education, screencasting, what else? Tutorials, blogging. So that way people who are on Tumblr who are interested in these keywords, when they search for these keywords, they'll see my post. That's the basic logic of how hashtags work with blogging, and this is a very simple example of how to write a post on Tumblr. There are some options with posting. You can add it to a queue so that it goes off on some scheduled sort of time schedule. You can schedule it to release at a very particular specific time that you set. I actually use this with my blog because a lot of my people are in the United States, so I want to post things to the internet at times when people in the UK will see it, but also when people in the US will see it. So for me, that ends up being around 5 p.m. or after. That way, my content hits the web when my people in the UK and my people in the US are both likely to see it. It's something to think about. You can save it as a draft if you want to return to it later and you're not sure it's ready to go yet. You can even post it privately. Okay. You can even check out a preview of it before you post to see what it looks like. I've done this before. I know what it's basically going to look like, so I'm just going to post and then we'll look at the example. Okay, so that easy. It shows up first on your own dashboard. You see it as you see the blog posts of the other people that you're following. But let's take a look at the actual blog. Let's see what the actual blog looks like with this new post. To do that, you just go up to the top right. This is your basic information with all of the blogs that you have. Many people have multiple blogs. You can have blogs with other people, as you saw with mine, but just click on the URL to see the blog. So there it is. There's the post that I just made. Blogs by default are sort of in reverse chronological order. So the newest content is at the top typically. You can actually change that if you want, if you have any reason to, but for most cases it makes most sense to put the newest content at the top. There's a discussion board available at the bottom for people to comment if they want to, and this is the blog post, the title and the contents right here. Very, very simple. You can edit sort of these other clever design features that I've added to mine. You can do that on your own in the dashboard. Okay, so going back to the dashboard, that's basically it. Anything you might want to do to sort of change the look of your blog or edit the posts, edit basically anything on your blog, you basically do it all from right here from the dashboard, this menu of options on the right-hand side. It's very straightforward. Everything is basically what it says it is. If you want to change the look of your blog, you can click Customize. It will bring you to this nice page that very conveniently allows you to change, the look and all different kinds of aspects of the page. Yeah, all right, NSA, whatever. And yeah, it's basically that easy. You can go to all of your own posts and edit them from here. Go back and look over the whole history of everything you've ever posted. Okay. Okay, so Tumblr is very nice and it has a large audience. A lot of people really like it. But another very popular blogging platform is called WordPress. WordPress gives you far more flexibility and far more options for managing a great deal of different kinds of content. So WordPress is it's a little bit heavier. It's a little bit harder to understand all the ins and outs of, but it's still very simple to get up and running on. And if you're really interested in having a serious blog or website moving on in the future, WordPress might be a slightly more attractive option just because it's a little bit more powerful in different options that you might want to have in the future. Okay, so let's go to WordPress.com. If you don't have an account, just sign up for one. Again, that part is very easy. And once you sign up, log in. I already have an account, so I will just log in. Put my information here, sign in. And so again, it's a very similar feel as Tumblr. A lot of the blogging platforms are sort of converging on very similar designs and patterns. So this is the dashboard for WordPress. all of the people who I follow on WordPress, the other WordPress bloggers who I'm friends with, who I'm interested in, their posts show up immediately up here in this area. And just as in Tumblr, the options for customizing things are over on the right. If you want to make a new post, there's actually a few different ways to do this. You can just go to new post is the easiest. If you just click new post, it then presents you with a few different options. Again, very reminiscent of what Tumblr looked like. Just choose the type of content that you want to post, and it will take you from there. So let's just do another text post. All right, so again, it's very straightforward. You just do all of your typing in here. This is yet another demonstration of blogging. Okay. I will give it a title. And again, give it tags. Blogging and education, whatever. You get the point. It automatically saves the draft, which is very nice. And again, basically the same options. You can add additional content if you want, insert a photo, do the formatting up here. But let's just publish the post. Excellent. It's published, and it gives you an option to check the post right here. And here it is. This is what the blog post looks like. Just an example, yet another demonstration of blogging. One thing I'm not crazy about with WordPress, the website, is that it does put ads on some of your posts. Tumblr doesn't, at least not yet. So something to consider. Yeah, that's just what the post looks like. Very straightforward. We can look at all the posts by me. This is an old blog that I ran in grad school. But yeah, it's just chronologically ordered series of posts that keep everything organized and recorded and archived for you. So now if you want to go back to customize the blog or make any other changes to really anything you want, just go to the top left corner here and go to dashboard. You can also from this point make another post, put up different kinds of media. You can customize from here. Let's just check out the dashboard. This gives you a sort of extended view of all of the different options that you can pursue to change things up and to customize the blog and add content. It also gives you some statistics on who's viewing your blog. So as you can see, it's sort of a little bit more sophisticated than Tumblr, but for that reason also maybe a little bit more confusing. Let's go to customize just to take a quick look at it. So here's where it gives you, again, a sort of graphical interface for looking at the blog. And here you can select different kinds of options. So if you want different colors, for instance, whatever it might be. Anyway, so let's just go back to the dashboard. Click out of here. This dashboard is a sort of extended view on all the details of what's going on. You can see drafts in progress, some summary statistics, some statistics about who's been viewing your blog, how many people on what days, comments, organized, people who might have written on your posts, all here. So as you can see, it's sort of a little bit more sophisticated than Tumblr, but for that reason, maybe a little bit more confusing. That's about it. That should be more than enough to get you started. If you want to learn how to use it with greater sophistication, there's a lot of stuff on the web. Other tutorials have been written that can teach you how to use all this stuff. And then there's Twitter. So if you're not already on Twitter, then go ahead and just go to twitter.com. And I'm already logged in because I have an account. But if you don't have an account, just sign up for one. It's free. And then log in with the account that you signed up for. Try to be smart when you choose a username because that's what you're going to go by on Twitter. So Twitter is very simple. Once you log in, you just have the stream of tweets coming from all of the people that you follow. When you first log on, it's going to be a blank slate because you don't have any followers. So the first step will be to find a bunch of people that you're interested in following. once you follow, 100 people or something like that, 100 really interesting people who are talking about the things that you really want to, the kinds of conversations that you really want to be a part of, then all of their tweets will appear in this um, Twitter feed. Okay, and that's the basics of Twitter. People tweet, you follow them, and you see their tweets basically in real time as they're tweeted from people around the world. To do your own tweeting, you just hit this little tweet button and you type in a little message that can only be a maximum of 140 characters. Okay, you can type whatever you want and then just hit tweet, and that will just tweet your little message out into the Twitterverse, and anyone following you will see that tweet on their own timeline right here. Okay, that's all there is to it. It's extremely simple. This is why a lot of people, when they first try out Twitter, they first sign up to see what all the fuss is about. People just don't get it. What the hell is so interesting about this? It seems almost stupid. Just people sending out little messages of less than 140 characters, and you just sit on a web page and see what they tweet. It's sort of hard to get into. But that's why later in this video we're going to introduce TweetDeck and show you a completely different setup to make Twitter look and feel and actually sort of be experienced as it should be. But for now, I'll just give you a very quick tour of the basic Twitter website. Basically, of any of these tweets that are coming at you from the people that you follow, you can retweet them, which means basically just sending out the tweet to your followers under your own name by just clicking retweet. You can favorite it, which just basically means you'll put a little star on it and the person who tweeted it knows that you registered your support for it, basically. Or you can reply, which means you can sort of respond directly to whatever this person is saying, and they'll receive it in real time. You can add images and things like this. You can add geotags to indicate your location. And then when people tweet at you or follow you or basically do anything towards you, you can go and sort of learn about what's been happening with that on the Connect page, where you sort of see the action. So someone favorited one of my retweets, for instance. That means this person liked it. That's very nice of them to do. Some people, I'm in conversation with some people, right? And this goes back, for the few years that I've been using Twitter. You can go and see the whole records of when people follow you, who retweets what, etc. And that's about all there is to these sort of simple options that are available to you on the main web page. If you want to edit your account, you can go to the Me section and you sort of see what other people will see when they check out your account. You can edit that by just clicking Edit Profile. And you can also see all of your tweets and the history of them. Okay, that's basically all there is to it. So now we're going to turn to Feedly, which is an RSS aggregator. There are many of them out there, but Feedly is one of the better ones, I think. So it's just what we're going to focus on for me to give you a quick lesson on what exactly that means and how exactly an RSS aggregator works. So go ahead and just open a new tab and let's type in feedly.com. So what exactly are we looking at here? Feedly is basically just a website that will allow you to take dozens of different websites and blogs and even other things like Twitter, all different kinds of streams, basically, all different kinds of information streams that crisscross the internet on a daily basis. It will allow you to put them all together into one very nicely organized web page. Sort of think of it as like a newspaper that you design by yourself. And all the authors of this newspaper are the bloggers and the different writers around the internet who you've chosen to organize into one highly personalized daily newspaper online. That's basically what an RSS aggregator is. So after I show you how to set this up and use it, what this basically will mean is that you're going to have a one-stop shop where you can basically on a daily basis check in on anyone in the world who's doing things of interest to you on the internet. You can check in on them all in one very, very efficient place. So if you don't have an account, go ahead and sign up. I already have an account, so I'm just going to log in. This is what you'll do after you set up an account. It remembered my information, and so this is what it looks like. I've already added a bunch of information sources, so you're going to start off with a blank slate, but this is what it will look like after you've added a bunch of different blogs that you're interested in following. So I'll just give you a quick tour of what we're looking at here. This is the main page where all of the blogs and websites that I've selected, that I've registered into my Feedly, that I've said I'm interested in following, it takes all of the posts and sort of sucks them from the websites on which they exist and puts them into this screen for me so that I can view them without having to go to other websites. So I prefer this format where you basically just see headlines, so I can just scroll through every morning, see what's happening in the world, what people are talking about that I might be interested in pursuing. If I find something that looks interesting to me, I'll go ahead and look into it. So let's see. All right, this is a post by the Marginal Revolution blog. These are two economists who are very influential economics bloggers. And so you click it, and here you get the actual whole blog post, and I don't even have to go to their website. Feedly has many built-in sharing options. So if you're interested in this, let's say this is something that's related to what you're researching, what some of the people in your research group might be interested in, what one of your professors might be interested in, whatever, something that you're interested in, you feel like sharing, you can just go and click the little, the Twitter bird, and it will likely, if you're already logged into Twitter, it will just bring you right to your Twitter account already logged in, and all you have to do is click tweet and you've shared it. So you may or may not realize this, but this is a huge boon to your ability to filter the extraordinary amounts of information that the internet sends at you every day. If you load up your Feedly with all different kinds of information and content sources that you're really interested in learning more about and potentially contributing to, and you just read through this one website, even for 1 hour a day, then you've just radically improved your media diet and your ability to actually learn from the world what it is that you want to learn from the world as powerfully as possible. Now, there are also a lot of really nice sort of stylistic customization options that you can pursue on Feedly if you want. This is the format that I like, but you can also see it in different ways. They give you an interesting little magazine format if that's what you're interested in. This plays well on the iPad if that's something that you use. What else? Cards. I think these are sometimes visually attractive, but when you're trying to deal with a great number of information sources, it's not nearly as efficient as the very simple, short headline format, I think. But you can explore those as you please. What is probably going to be most useful to you is the ability to make groups of feeds. So I have this huge list of different content sources that I'm interested in. And if you look at just the main page, like we were just looking at it, you basically see all of them in one sort of messy, crazy place. But typically, there are certain ones that I look at just on a daily basis. So for instance, I have this little group called Daily Bread. If you just open it up, you see the actual names of the specific blogs that I look at on a daily basis. There's 11 more. So these are the ones that I try to keep up on really every day. So when I log in, sometimes I'll just click on Daily Bread and it will just give me only the ones from that group. And then it's only these other ones that I check in on a little less regularly because there's just too much information out there, of course. Okay, so that's a tour of what Feedly looks like and how to use it once you have content added, but most of you are going to be starting off with a blank slate if you've never used this before. So you need to learn first and foremost how to add content streams that you're interested in. So you should spend some time on your own just scouring the internet for interesting people, different kinds of intellectuals and activists and people around the world doing things that are relevant to what you're researching and what you're interested in. But even before you've done that or after you've done that, if you just want to sort of add some blogs that you know you're already interested in, maybe that you already follow, Let's just look at how you do that. It's very simple. If you just go to the top left up here, go to add content, you can enter the URL, the title of the blog, or even just a generic topic to see suggested blogs or websites that might appeal to you. So to give an example, one of the very excellent political science blogs out there that I follow, and I would recommend you do too, is called The Monkey Cage. You may or may not have heard of it. It's now at the Washington Post because it was that popular. It was bought up by the Washington Post. So it's noticed that it's already in mine. But anyway, the point right here is that it shows you the blog. It finds the blog for you just based on you typing the title. And so if you just click it, click the plus, it will add that to your content stream in Feedly. It's that simple. Okay, now last but not least, let's check out TweetDeck to really enhance our experience on Twitter and our ability to manage, but also contribute to the plethora of conversations that are taking place around the world on Twitter. I'll open a new tab and go to tweetdeck.com. So again, just as in the previous examples, if you don't already have an account, go ahead and sign up. And then once you've signed up, let's go to sign in on the web. So it remembers my information, so it just logs me in automatically. And here's the basic pared down window that TweetDeck gives you. At first glance, this looks just like Twitter. This is just all of the people that I follow and their tweets showing up in real time as they're tweeted. And you can scroll down to see all of the tweets of all of the people I follow, just like you see on the Twitter webpage when you log in. What makes TweetDeck incredibly useful is simply the fact that it takes this metaphor of the column, which represents a stream. It takes this metaphor of the column stream and allows you to have any number of different column streams that allow you to, in a very organized way, pay close attention to whatever aspect of the Twitterverse that you want to stay on top of. There are a lot of clever things you can do with TweetDeck, and I'll let you explore most of those things on your own time. For now, I just want to show you what I think are a few of the most essential features of TweetDeck. The first is adding a column based on a specific hashtag. To add a column, just notice this plus mark over here. Hover over it and it gives you the option to add column. And here it shows you all of the different kinds of columns that you can add. So the first one I want to show you, like I just said, has to do with the hashtags that people tweet on. So to do this, we have to make a search. If you do search and then type in the hashtag that you're interested in, it will make a column that will allow you to keep up with just that hashtag. So one of the things that I'm interested in right now is the Euromaidan protests. There it is. This is around the big protests that are taking place in Ukraine right now that are potentially threatening to topple the government. So if you click it, here you have a stream of everyone in the world who's tweeting on this hashtag. Now, if you go ahead and add column, you see that now I have a specific stream dedicated to just this particular issue in the world that I want to be paying attention to. But let's say I'm a researcher of EU politics in general, and I want to really have a sense of what anyone around the world is saying about EU in general. Well, that's going to be a whole lot of information, but there are ways that you can actually sort of stay on top of that. So let's make a column where we'll make a search for, let's say, just the EU. So this will rake in anyone who tweets anything using just the hashtag EU. This will give us a preview. And as you can see, it's a whole lot of different kinds of folks. But let's just add the column, because TweetDeck also gives you very powerful options for not only seeing everything on a particular hashtag, but also zeroing in on only particular kinds of tweets within a hashtag. If you notice, the whole issue here is about filtering. Everything about the internet and managing life on the internet is all about filtering. How you can, as efficiently and effectively as possible, get from the internet this huge stream of information exactly what it is you want to get. So now let's make a column that's based on a list of Twitter accounts that we want to follow, but that we don't necessarily want to actually add to the list of people that we are following. So typically, the people that you follow as an individual are the people that you know you're very directly and always going to be interested in maintaining some kind of relationship with on Twitter. But often there are sometimes large swaths of people who you want to be able to listen in on, but you don't necessarily want to actually make the commitment of following all of their accounts. This is when you'll make a list of those people so you can pay attention to them without following them. And here's how. If you just go to add column, you'll then see an option for lists. Go ahead and click lists. And you'll see that I'm already subscribed to one list. It's a list that someone else made that I found of people tweeting about the crisis in Central African Republic. But for your purposes, let's say you found some interesting people that you want to pay attention to, but you don't necessarily want to follow. Go ahead and hit create list. Just give it the Twitter account you want this labeled under, name the list. So let's say I want to follow my colleagues at University of Southampton, but I don't necessarily want to go around following all of them directly. I'll go ahead and make a list called Soton Teachers. I'll put a short description so that if other people are also interested in this list, they can subscribe to it also. Just call it Academics at University of Southampton. We'll make it public so other people can subscribe to it. Go ahead and click save, and it will make the list. Now I have to add accounts to it. So let's look up he's Mehdi G. Ryan. And there he is. So we'll add him. Who are some other people we know? For Jerry Stoker's got a unique name. Let's see if he shows up easy. There he is. Okay, so you got the idea, and you can add as many as you want. If you go ahead and keep selected add column and hit done, you now have a new column, which will only show you all of the tweets by all of the people that you put on this list. So we see only tweets by Jerry Stoker and Matt Ryan. Okay, so this is great. The last thing I'll suggest that you do is add a column for your own notifications about what people might be doing towards your account, like sending you messages or replying to your tweets. Go ahead and add a column for notifications, which will basically tell you sort of everything that's going on with your account. So if someone tweets at you, retweets you, whatever it might be, it will give you a record of all of that. Go ahead, hit add column. And yeah, that's what it looks like. So you can check in to see if anyone is communicating with you, or if they're retweeting the stuff that you tweet. That's also, fun and interesting and exciting to watch. What's especially cool is when people start following you because you're doing such extraordinary, interesting things in the world that people want to follow you. You also get notifications here that so-and-so just followed you. And sometimes that comes in waves if someone retweets a lot of things that you maybe have been tweeting. And so that's ideally going to be an active column where you're getting engagement from other people also. So now you have an extremely sophisticated and powerful, very flexible dashboard for not only receiving very specific flows of information that you're interested in, but also sort of maintaining your own engagement with other people and their engagement with you. Oh, and one last thing. For a hashtag such as EU, that's going to get a whole lot of tweets every day. It's going to be quite hard to keep up with what's interesting and what's important. TweetDeck has a really nice option where you can, even within the column that you've made, set other kinds of filtering restrictions. So one thing you can explore the site on your own. You can limit it to only particular users, there are a few other things that you can sort of play with a little bit, but the one that I want to draw your attention to is this engagement one, which is very useful because what you can do is just set it to at least, maybe 3 retweets, or, even 2 retweets is quite a lot. And what this will do is it will only show you the EU tweets that have actually had a little bit of influence in the sense that they were shared by someone else. And if you want to only look at the most influential tweets, then you might do something like, 10. People who get 10 retweets typically are pretty influential tweeters. It's pretty hard to get that many retweets. So if you go ahead and do that, then you'll see down here the tweets you're seeing are only going to be the really rather influential tweets on the EU hashtag. Okay, so we'll close up the options there. And last but not least, almost forgot, to tweet, just go into the top left corner here, this little quill pen icon, and this gives you a little space to tweet in. Here you just type your tweet, hit tweet, and it'll send it out. Add an image if you want. You can also schedule the tweet for some other specific time. Again, if you're dealing with time zones, this is an especially useful feature. Okay, I'll cancel this out. Perhaps the absolute very last thing that I would add to this short presentation is to note that you can engage with any single tweet on this dashboard anywhere by just hovering over it, and it gives you options. You can respond by clicking this. Here you put your response and tweet, or you can just quickly retweet it. Let's find something that I actually would be interested in retweeting. You should only retweet things that you actually really think are interesting enough to share with other people. If you retweet only, silly or dumb things, then people won't want to follow you because they won't see you as a, valuable supplier of information. So, whatever. Okay. Julian Assange in a conversation with Slavoj Žižek. I've seen this. It's interesting. It's worth tweeting. Whatever. This is just an example. If you go ahead and hit retweet, you can edit it and sort of add your own little bit to it if you want to make a comment on it before you retweet it. Oh, I like this. Yeah, okay. And go ahead and hit retweet. Then you're retweeting the tweet, but you're also giving your own little commentary on it. All right. Okay, and so that's a quick tour of TweetDeck. Last but not least, for Google Chrome users, I want to show you that TweetDeck and Feedly both have apps that are designed to run in Google Chrome, and they look nicer and run a little bit better than the web pages, which stand on their own terms. If you want to install them, it's very easy. Just go to Apps, go to Store, and then search for TweetDeck, right? Install it. It's a one-click operation, very simple. And then go to Feedly. Again, install it. One quick, just a simple click of an operation. And then what this will do for you, it's very nice, and this is how I work on a daily basis, is when you open a new tab in Chrome and you just go to Apps, you now have TweetDeck right here and Feedly right here. And you can go ahead and click them. And, just got a notification. And it will give you basically what we just looked at, but a somewhat better integrated dashboard. And here you see my actual personal dashboard and all the things that I'm actually interested in. Okay. It's just slightly sleeker than the regular web page. And then if you go to your apps and you select Feedly, again, it's the same thing. It's just like the website we looked at, but it's a little bit nicer, sort of uses more screen real estate, is a little bit bigger and cleaner. Okay. I will go to my sort of the daily blogs that I try to keep tabs on. And then to clean everything up, I'll just sort of close up all of the stuff that I've been doing over the past half hour. And a nice little finishing touch is to just pin these to make them small. Oh, and I'll also open up my blog. And I will pin this also. So now as I go on through the day, doing whatever I need to be doing, opening different websites or whatever, doing my work, at any moment I can sort of check in on what the bloggers I'm interested in are saying or doing in real time. I can check in very quickly on any of the Twitter streams that I follow to see what's going on with that. I can tweet real quick anything I might be thinking or anything I might have to contribute. If there's anything I'm reading that's really interesting, then we can click it. Let's see. What was the scope for British Keynesian policies in the 1930s? If I read this and I think it's interesting, and I think there are people following me who would also find this interesting, then I would tweet it, and it's that simple. Ideally, you'll say something sort of interesting and unique, original in some sense, of your own thoughts, instead of just tweeting the title. And it's all sort of available to all these sorts of actions are very quickly available to you to be participating in these conversations on a daily basis in real time. Maybe an idea comes to you for a longer blog post. Maybe you think of a paper that you want to write based on what you're reading from these information streams. You think, oh, I have an idea for something I might want to do for one of my seminar papers. Then you might just do draft idea for a seminar paper and just take some notes on that right here. And then, take notes, post, and then get back to your work or whatever. Okay, so working this way, I think you'll find is a completely different experience of blogging, tweeting, and even just reading information from the internet. When you really use these tools in the powerful ways that they can be used, you suddenly find that you're far more powerful than you were when you were just sort of passively, clicking around, looking at blogs and Facebook posts and things like this. Anyway, I hope this makes you all really pumped to attack the big wide world of internet information and communication. Okay, I'll see you out there.